Welcome to the Porn Reboot Podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode.
Do you wonder if it is possible to control your behavior and transform your entire life within 1 year if you've been living with a pornography addiction? If you've been acting out, if you've been watching the most nasty material that you swear that you will take to your grave, if you have crossed the line with your partner so many times, if you feel that your behavior with pornography has warped every aspect of your life, then there might be some hope in today's podcast. See, this morning I was doing some housekeeping of our VIP group where we host the intensive program, and I found a post from November where a brother who had just completed his year, this is November 2024, he had joined in January and he was close to a year in the program, and he shared this beautiful post that I would like to read out to you in the hopes that it will give you an insight into what is possible within a year in the Porn Reboot system. It said, "Hey brothers, I have reached the 1 year mark in my reboot. I wanted to write a post for this occasion. Reflecting on my progress, it's amazing to see how much one can change in just 1 year. It's painful for me to even remember how I used to feel and the kind of emotions and self-image I used to have before my reboot. To start off, the main driver of my issues is that I was constantly engaging in behaviors that were hurting my self-image and self-esteem. This kept my emotions stuck in shame and victimhood, which fueled my compulsive behaviors even further. I had been stuck in this cycle for years, beginning with childhood trauma, and things were just getting worse year by year. I remember the pain of shame and resentment swelling and aching in my stomach, my chest, and my throat, constantly making me feel uneasy, aggrieved, and volatile. Logically, I couldn't reconcile these feelings with my otherwise okay life. I had a career that looked fine on paper. I used to think that all life was just a brief, meaningless experience, and I may as well try to get as much pleasure and ego satisfaction from the experience as possible, and would feel extremely angry and resentful when I felt such pleasures were denied. I had no clarity on my values, and I was too scared to start a business. I hated what I was becoming deep down, but I didn't know what to do because nothing in my worldview could help me. This appeared to simply just be the way that life was designed and preordained for me to live. It's a very difficult chapter to write about, but I'm so grateful that it's a chapter of my life that has now ended. I only write about it because it may help some brothers who are going through similar things. I am relieved and grateful to report that I have made a complete turnaround on all these issues through being in the reboot program for 1 year. When I just started the program, I initially thought that if I could just stay away from the compulsive behaviors for 3 to 6 months, that by itself would make the program worth it. Now, even though I have stayed away from that compulsive behavior for a whole year, that's actually the smallest part of what I've gained from this program. The biggest thing I would say that I have gained is honesty. It was only by being brutally honest with myself, observing the addict and dialoguing with it, was I able to finally start grasping the nature of the program and begin to make deeper progress. I will always remember that observation and honest dialogue is the most powerful tool at my disposal. No matter which shameful nooks and crannies of the underground cave of my mind the dialogue zigzags through, all of it is the truth of what is happening, and surprisingly, all of it can be manageable, and at the end of the day, after repeated efforts, ends up feeling boring. Another big lesson I'm taking away is the importance of values and ethics, and continuously shaping yourself by choosing to embody these higher principles. I used to be overly concerned with what others thought of me, but now that concern has reduced by 75 to 80%, and that's a lot of progress for just 1 year. When I live according to my own values and ethics, I automatically care less about what others think about me. I also have more respect, creativity, confidence, and dignity. This carries over to other areas of life, such as increasing one's work ethic, making independent business decisions, doing things that you always plan to do, and so on. This is a new way of looking at life compared to the utilitarian, maximize pleasure way I was looking at it before, and this provides me with an internal source of courage and strength that doesn't depend on the outside world regarding me or not. And this is an area I want to continue to work on for the rest of my life. It is the true bulwark against the subpersonality. Another internal lesson is in having the confidence to live life on your own terms. Through the reboot, I learned to reject labels that the psychology industry created, and instead to define and decide on my own values. Through this process, I gained the confidence to define who I am on my own terms. I started to feel like my words mattered again. This confidence is priceless. Those are some of the deeper internal benefits. Some of the shallower external benefits are: 1. Starting a profitable business. I gained the courage to pursue my entrepreneurial dreams. Number 2, healthy relationships. Entered my first healthy relationship with a wonderful girl. Number 3, social life. Enjoyed trips, parties, and events with friends without any slips. Number 4, career advancements. I earned a promotion at work. Number 5, positive relationships. I removed toxic or judgmental people from my life, creating mental space to live on my terms. In the future, I want to take the same intensity of the reboot and continue the brutal honesty and cultivation of ethics, values, and independence in all other areas of life. I truly feel that the lessons I've learned from the reboot will help me to accelerate my self-improvement in all aspects of life. I also want to give some short tips for brothers in the early stage of their reboot when things are most difficult. These are some of the things that helped me. Number 1, dialogue things out in excruciating detail, even if it's just the addict saying, do it, and higher self saying, don't do it, over and over. Keep the dialogue ongoing. At this stage, it's a win, even if you slip, if you are having more dialogues between slips. As a more quantitative-minded person, it helped me to think this way. Number 2, a phrase that helped me: I want to die with dignity, meaning, let me at least die without being an undignified slave to these impulses. This is a short and sweet appeal to the higher self. Number 3, I made the reboot my highest priority. Even if I let other aspects of my life fall a little bit, at this stage of my reboot, it required me to give it 100%. Number 4, share with an accountability partner if I'm getting urges. Now, it helped me to share urges a lot, even if it was something stupid like, I saw a hot girl outside today. Now, in the beginning, I didn't let myself keep such things to myself, no matter how small, because I just so desperately did not want to slip. I had a there's no such thing as doing too much mentality. 5, I really digested and discussed with my accountability partner and JK concepts like true rebooter versus trial rebooter, whether slips are okay, and so on. I really tried to understand the philosophy behind the program and what makes it special, and this gave me a deeper confidence and commitment and ammunition against my addict. Find out what exactly your addict and higher self thinks about these concepts. I found that discussing these concepts with my accountability partner really kept me honest and open-minded towards understanding these core concepts differently, because clearly the previous things I knew weren't helping me and I needed to let them go. Finally, ignore and delete whatever society says about addiction. The psychology industry defines standards and labels and imposes them on you. Rebooting is about deciding and defining your own standards and learning how you can live up to them. No industry, no expert, no psychologist, no scientist can get in the way between you and yourself. I did whatever research I needed to do to disabuse myself of the notion of them having any authority over me. understanding this was a huge unlock to gaining a sense of agency in this process. Now, gentlemen, JK here. This, just to give you a little context about this brother, when he joined the program, he's an incredibly smart engineer. He works for one of the top 3 companies. You use their product every single day, and he's one of the best of the best. And he had an addiction to pornography and addiction to sugar babies. In fact, he was in a relationship with a sugar baby, a codependent relationship, a relationship where he was sending her money and she was almost gaslighting him. And it was very abusive. She was doing all these things to him in order for him to send money. It was just amazing that he had even joined the program in the first place because he was so deep in this loop. And I will tell you, some of our senior members in the program, by senior, I mean OG members who had been with me for a while, who were in the maintenance stage of their reboot, they did express some concern about his mental state. Like, I don't know, this guy seems pretty gone. Isn't this one of those guys that you filter out of the program? But I could see that this was a guy who was willing to learn and understand the system, but because he was a smart guy, he had actually looked at everything before he came to us. He had looked at every coaching program out there. He had looked at stuff that used mindfulness. He had looked at stuff that used neurofeedback. He had looked at stuff that used religious methodologies. He had looked at stuff that used CBT. He had looked at everything. And when he came to ours, he got a little stumped. And this is a guy with a high IQ. He was like, what the heck? And he insisted on speaking with me to hear me break it down because he's a brilliant systems guy. Once it was broken down for him, he decided that this was the program for him. And let me tell you, just the fact that he understood that was good enough for me. He struggled mightily. And for somebody like that to within 1 year start his own business, put together his own values, his own ethics, his own standards, and operate from a very principled place, to learn how to dialogue and have deep conversations between his addict subpersonality and his higher self, to get a girlfriend, to let go of all those toxic behaviors, and to choose to go from depression and feeling that life was this short, shitty existence to wanting to die with values, wanting to die not a slave to his impulses within a year is phenomenal. He's not the only one who has done that. In fact, unfortunately, this is going to sound really bad. We have so many wins that sometimes I have to find them. And this is just one of those really good ones that happens that I'm not saying we take them for granted. I'm just saying we have a lot of people who are achieving amazing results. And I think I'm doing you, the podcast listener, a disservice by not sharing their amazing stories. Oftentimes, some of the best stories are by men who they complete their time in the program and they leave because they're so busy living life. We don't even have time to get them on a call to do a success story, because men who get to the late stage of their reboot in a very short period of time get really busy. They're busy living life. They're busy with their new girlfriend. They're busy with their new wife. Their wife is pregnant. They have a kid. They're building a home. They've started 2 businesses. Life is busy, and I totally get it. The urgency with which you came into the program is no longer there, and the program has played its role. And I want to end this by telling you, those of you there who think that rebooting is something like therapy, where you have to keep coming to the program and you need to be here for years and years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, and you're going to struggle with this forever. This is not any of those programs for many reasons, but I'll just name 3 of them for you. Number 1, this system is designed to get you to rewire your brain. On a biological level, you will not have a reason to stay here. The second reason is that your life will change. It will transform so visibly that you will not even be able to show up to the program, because your life will change within such a short period of time. And finally, we have no incentive to keep you here. Yes, the program is the most expensive program out there, and we do our best to help make it affordable for you. We can find you funding, we do payment plans, all those wonderful things. But all of this is because you're never, ever going to need any more support with your out of control behavior. It is a one-time thing. And personally, I run other businesses. I'm independently wealthy from the porn reboot system. So there's no incentive for me to keep you here year after year after year. And there's no incentive for our team as well. We run a successful program. So if you've been thinking, man, I don't know, I think it's going to take 2 years. I've been struggling with this for years. I did this other program where I got to 7 months and I slipped and relapsed. I'll be honest with you. Some of those things could still happen within our program. And if those are your fears, those are your fears. And your responsibility is to show up to a program like ours and immediately have a conversation with us about the fears. We will have a conversation with you anyway. What are you afraid of? You're here. What are you afraid of? JK, I'm afraid that I'm not going to make it, man. Like, dude, you don't understand. I've tried everything. And I just don't want to do this and lose hope. That's what I'm really afraid of. JK, I'm afraid that I'll become apathetic. I'm afraid that I know myself, man. Like, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 30s. I've started things and I just won't give a shit, man. I am so scared of that. JK, I think that deep down, I actually want to watch porn. But as much as I think I want to watch it and I still don't want to let it go, I know it's having a negative impact on my life. And I'm just fucking stuck here, man. Sometimes it's just easier for me to just ignore it all. All of those are valid emotions and you are allowed to share them honestly. You are encouraged to share them with us, but we will not let them become reasons. We will not let them become causes for you to slip or to relapse or not get what you came here for. So I highly recommend you bookmark and save this particular episode and go back to listening to it, because this is and was the true story of a man who came through this program and transformed his life.
I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out of control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot Group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is, if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.